we would come out, notify the owner that there's a violation, and then they have that time immediately to get that cleared. So it goes in as an ordinance violation. And it should also be noted that there is a $25 citation if in that ordinance if you don't clear it after the snowfall. So,
do we have a lot of issues with like apartment buildings where people are like the owners are not on property or rental properties? What is the issue? Like, if you're a renter, do you have to do it, or is that the responsibility of your landlord?
Well, again, the landlord should be making arrangements. It's eventually we contact an owner or the representative who manages the property, but it should be a representative, and it's the owner's responsibility to make sure that they have some type of company or contract or person making sure that it's cleared. And for the most part, we don't run into issues with it. We believe that, we've been able to educate, and the neighbors want to help each other. They want to make sure that it's cleared and the accesses are open, because again, it is troublesome for anybody in a wheelchair to navigate through that. And so for safety reasons, it's just best to get out and clear that sidewalk.
Well, even for able-bodied people.
Well, again, the people would be either someone disabled, an elderly person, or even children going to school. So it's very important to make sure that we make sure those sidewalks are clear.
Joe, how much, is this a big problem? Is it bigger at the beginning of the winter? What do you run into there?
I think it just varies. It's hard to say beginning or end of the year if it's worse or better. It just depends on the area and if people are out of town. A lot of the complaints we get are people are out of town and they didn't have someone scheduled to take care of their property while they're gone.
Well, while Joe was mentioning that, I should restate that I think I was talking with the citation part of this. I was talking for a snow emergency, and I don't know that we've talked about snow emergencies yet. In our release, that is also mentioned in there. My point would be that if we do declare a snow emergency, that if your vehicle is left on the street, there is a citation that gets issued, and that's what I was referring to for the $25 fee. So the ordinance violation, if you are, so I needed to correct myself there in regards to that. You would get a citation, you would have to go in on the ordinance violation. And so I was confused there in regards to that $25 citation. So I'll back up and we'll talk about snow emergency. Okay. So the city of Mankato can declare a snow emergency. When that's declared, there's a release that goes out in many ways. It can be through social media or it can be through a release that the city puts out. After the snow emergency is declared, generally they'll give 12-hour notice ahead of time, 8 to 12 hours, and then at that point the snow emergency is in effect in the city of Mankato. And at that point there will be officers that go out and work with the streets and the tow companies to make sure that the roads are clear of vehicles, and then they are able to plow curb to curb. If you are parked on a city street during a snow emergency, you will receive a citation for being parked in the snow emergency. In effect, that is a $25 fee in the citation, and they also tow your vehicle. And then that's separate besides the citation. And at that point, then the city is able to get in and clean it curb to curb. And then that's where we're able to clear our streets efficiently and effectively. And then after that, there will be a release that goes out saying the snow emergency is over.
Generally, do you know how much the tow and impound fees are and where our cars impound?
I would refer you to those companies.
Is there one
There's
location?
two companies.
Okay.
There's two companies that we contract with in the city of Mankato, and those would be the ones you would talk to.
Who are they?
Affordable Towing and All American Towing. The city is actually broke into kind of half. So one company has from East Main North and one company has from East Main South.
Once a snow emergency is declared, how long do people have to move their cars?
Typically, we like to give them an 8 to 12 hour notice. And again, we would encourage that they go and sign up for our, whether it's the social media sites, and you have that release that there's many ways for us to contact you, and that's our goal, is to educate everybody. We want them to move their vehicles, because if they move their vehicles, we can clearly and efficiently clear these streets much better with those out of the way. We don't want to ticket people, we don't want to tow vehicles. Unfortunately, it's just part of the nature of trying to clean the streets and do it efficiently and effectively, and so we need them to be removed. And so if everybody is able to be notified and moves that, that's great, that's better for us. And typically when there's a snow emergency called, we do also give in that notification locations where they can park their vehicles for the time period that the streets are clear or during that snow emergency.
Is there a specific level of snowfall that triggers the snow emergency?
We usually go for 3 to 4 inches, but it depends on the forecast, what's coming next. But 3 to 4 inches is what we generally go for.
I just have a comment to ask the commander too, about some of our older neighborhoods. We've got these seasonal no parking streets, and it gets confusing sometimes for people. But the city's been very good at including all the information on their website for the seasonal no parking streets, where that's a different part of the policy during snow emergencies, where the cars are moved to the other side of the street until they're cleared and then moved back.
So his comment on the seasonal no parking is we try to make it very clear in our release what that means. So there is a seasonal no parking. That means that our streets department will go to those areas and clear one side of that street first. And then once that snow emergency is in effect, that one side is where people can park.
Yep.
And we do try to make that very clear in the releases when we send those out. If there is any confusion, we would encourage, like in the release, just to call that 311 and contact them and ask their questions.